Welcome to my channel English Achievement. If you like my video, please like and share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. There is a secret that most people in this world never talk about. A truth that hides quietly behind people's smiles, behind their social media posts, behind their daily routines. It is something many people feel ashamed to admit. The truth is this: millions of people feel like they have no real friends. Not because they are bad, not because they are unworthy, not because they don't try, but because life changes and people change. And sometimes, without warning, you wake up one day and realize that you are walking alone. This video is not to make you feel sad. This is not about labeling yourself as lonely. This is about turning that feeling into power, clarity, and purpose. Because people with no friends are not weak. People with no friends are not failures. People with no friends are not broken. People with no friends often become the strongest people in the world if they learn how to use their solitude correctly. Today I will tell you the real story behind being alone, why it is happening, how to grow through it, and how this stage of life can transform you into someone unstoppable. Stay with me until the end, because this topic will change the way you look at yourself forever. Chapter 1. When you feel like you have no friend. There comes a moment in life when you suddenly feel like you don't belong anywhere. It does not happen loudly. It does not happen dramatically. It arrives quietly like a slow shadow, stretching across your days. You look at your phone and notice it has become silent. The notifications you once expected never arrive. Your messages remain unread, sitting there like unanswered questions. The people you thought were close to you begin to drift away. Not because of a fight, not because of anger, but simply because life has pulled them in a different direction. Your old school friends have built their own worlds. Your workmates stay inside the office boundaries and disappear as soon as the workday ends. And then, in the middle of all this emptiness, your heart whispers something painful, something heavy. Maybe I don't have anyone. But this feeling did not appear in one single moment. It grows slowly, like a quiet storm building inside you. You start to remember the times when you were the friend who always gave everything, the one who listened patiently, the one who comforted others when they cried, the one who stayed awake to help someone else's pain. You were the emotional backbone of many people. But when it was finally your turn to need support, when you needed someone to stand beside you, suddenly no one showed up. You looked around and realized that the people you carried through their darkness were not ready to carry you through yours. Or maybe the situation is different. Maybe nothing bad happened. Maybe you simply matured. You changed. Your mindset grew. Your values shifted. Your priorities became clearer. And as you grew internally, the people around you stopped fitting naturally into your life. The conversations that once felt fun now feel empty. The habits that once united you now feel meaningless. It is not that you rejected them. Your life simply expanded in a direction theirs did not. This is a natural part of human growth. But it often leaves you feeling like you are walking alone. This feeling of having no friends usually comes from three powerful sources, and each one shapes you in ways you don't immediately notice. 1. You outgrew people. You are developing, growing, improving. Many people around you are not. When you grow internally, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you become different. Your old lifestyle no longer feels comfortable. And when you become different, you naturally lose people who were only connected to your old version. They don't understand your new goals. They don't support your discipline. They don't respect your transformation. But remember this truth: this is not your fault. Growth always requires shedding old layers. 2. You stopped tolerating fake relationships. At some point you got tired of fake smiles, tired of forced conversations, Tired of friendships that only worked when you were useful. You got tired of being surrounded by people who only appeared when they needed something from you, but vanished when you needed them. When you stop giving people free emotional energy, many disappear instantly. But losing them is not your loss. It is your freedom. It is your heart protecting itself from people who never deserved access to you. 3. Life is pushing you toward a new chapter. Sometimes loneliness is not a punishment. It is preparation. You feel lonely not because you have no one, but because life is clearing the space around you. It is preparing you for people who match your future, not your past. If life kept everyone around you, no matter how unaligned, they would block the path to the people who are truly meant to walk with you. Your loneliness is often a sign that a new chapter is beginning. The truth is, almost every person in this world feels alone at least once in their lifetime. Even those who appear surrounded by large groups sometimes feel empty inside. Loneliness is a part of the human journey. And even though it hurts, even though it feels like something important is missing, this stage serves a powerful purpose. Solitude is the birthplace of transformation. It is in silence that you hear your true voice. It is in emptiness that you meet your deepest self. And it is in moments of isolation that your real strength begins to grow. Chapter 2. Why being alone can be your greatest advantage. When you have no friends, something powerful begins to shift inside your life. Something that most people never even notice because they are too busy being surrounded by noise, distractions, and constant interaction. But when life becomes quiet, when your social circle shrinks, when the people who once filled your days are no longer there, a new kind of clarity begins to enter your world. Your mind becomes clear. Your schedule becomes open. Your heart becomes honest. And for the first time in a long time, you are no longer carrying the heavy weight of other people's expectations or judgments. This moment, this period of solitude is where your real life can truly begin. Most people think being alone is a weakness, something to be ashamed of, something to fix quickly. But the truth is completely different. Being alone can become the strongest, most transformative advantage in your entire life. It is a hidden gift that only a few people ever understand. And if you learn how to use this stage wisely, it can propel you ahead of 99% of people around you. One of the greatest advantages of being alone is this one. You have time to understand yourself. Most people move through life without ever stopping to understand who they are. They run from noise to distraction, from social media to social events, from one conversation to another, always trying to keep their mind busy. They fear silence because silence forces them to face their real thoughts. But you have something rare. You have silence. You have space. You have time. You have the opportunity to sit with your thoughts and explore who you are beneath the surface. When you are alone, you begin to understand your own emotions, your triggers, your strengths, your weaknesses, your dreams, and your fears. You start learning what truly matters to you. And a person who understands themselves is far more powerful than someone who only understands the world. When you know yourself, you cannot be easily controlled, influenced, or manipulated. Your clarity becomes your strength. 2. You become independent. When you are alone, something incredible happens. You stop depending on others for emotional survival. You stop needing validation. You stop waiting for approval. You stop looking for people to fill your emptiness. Instead, you learn how to fill your own cup. You become emotionally self-sufficient. You learn how to stand alone. And here is the secret. A person who can stand alone becomes unstoppable when someone finally stands with them. Independence gives you emotional freedom. It teaches you that you do not need a crowd to feel valuable or worthy. You earn your worth from your actions, your discipline, and your inner growth. Once you become independent, you choose Relationships out of desire, not desperation. You no longer cling to people. You no longer fear losing anyone. That is true strength. 3. You start building real confidence. Most people think confidence comes from being popular, being surrounded by many friends, or being the center of attention. But that kind of confidence is temporary and fragile. It disappears the moment people walk away. True confidence does not come from external validation. It comes from mastering your inner world. People who spend time alone often grow stronger than those surrounded by crowds. Why? Because they build confidence based on self-respect. They learn to trust their own decisions. They learn to rely on their own abilities. They learn that their value does not decrease when the room becomes empty. This kind of confidence cannot be taken away by anyone. 4. You learn how to focus. A large social circle often brings unnecessary distractions: gossip, drama, comparison, pressure, and endless time-wasting activities. But when your circle becomes small, your mind becomes sharp. When your circle becomes zero, your life becomes incredibly focused. You finally see your goals clearly. You begin investing your time into things that matter: your growth, your health, your skills, your career, your dreams. You stop living for approval and start living for purpose. Productivity becomes natural because you no longer waste energy keeping up with people who do not add value to your life. This level of focus can change your entire future. 5. You learn how to choose your circle carefully. People with large social circles often do not know who to trust. They are surrounded by noise, but they feel emotionally empty. But people who have walked alone for a while develop a powerful gift: the ability to recognize true energy, true intention, and true loyalty. Being alone teaches you what real friendship looks like. It teaches you what kind of people drain you and what kind of people uplift you. It teaches you to protect your peace. So later, when new people enter your life, you choose them wisely. You no longer let anyone sit at your table just because you are afraid of sitting alone. You choose quality over quantity. You choose authenticity over popularity. And you never again allow someone to poison your peace. Being alone is not a curse. It is not a weakness. It is one of the greatest advantages you can ever have if you learn to use it well. Chapter 3. The Dark Side of Having No Friends and How to Overcome It. Let's be honest. Being alone can be powerful, but it is not always comfortable. It is not always peaceful. It is not always motivational. Solitude has a bright side, yes, but it also has a dark side that people rarely talk about. It brings pain. It brings overthinking. It brings self-doubt. It forces you to sit with emotions that most people avoid. And because you are walking this path without a crowd, these emotions can feel heavier than they actually are. But every challenge in this chapter has a solution, and every difficult feeling has a purpose. What you are experiencing is not failure. It is transformation. One of the first things you face when you have no friends is this uncomfortable question. 1. You begin to question your worth. When your phone stays silent for days, when nobody checks on you, when people you cared about slowly fade from your life, you begin to wonder, is something wrong with me? Your mind whispers doubts like, why do people leave? Or am I not interesting enough? Or maybe I am the problem. These questions are painful, but they are natural. Everyone who goes through solitude faces them at some point. But here is the deeper truth you need to hold on to. People leaving is not always about you. Sometimes they leave because they were only meant for a chapter, not the whole story. Sometimes they leave because they cannot go where you are going. The path you are taking may demand growth, discipline, honesty, or transformation. Things not everyone is willing to embrace. Your journey is not for everyone, and That is okay. You are not unworthy. You are evolving. Another challenge you face is the feeling of disappearing from the world. 2. You feel invisible. There are days when you feel like nobody understands you. Days when it feels like nobody sees the depth inside you, the kindness, the strength, the dreams, the struggles. You might feel like you are walking through life unnoticed, unheard, unappreciated. This type of loneliness is not just physical. It is emotional. It feels like your soul is carrying a weight that nobody else knows about. But this invisibility has a purpose. It pushes you to discover your own worth. First, it forces you to realize that your value does not depend on attention, recognition, or applause. It teaches you to stop waiting for others to validate your existence. The moment you recognize your worth, without anyone's approval, you become unbreakable. The next challenge comes from the world around you, especially the digital world. 3. You compare yourself. Social media makes loneliness heavier. You scroll through photos of people laughing with friends, traveling in groups, celebrating birthdays, enjoying parties, and living what looks like a perfect social life. And you sit there wondering, why is my life so different? But what you see on social media is not real life. It is a highlight reel. It is a curated performance. Behind many of those smiling group photos is jealousy, insecurity, competition, gossip, and superficial friendships where nobody truly cares about each other. You are not missing out on anything important. In fact, you are avoiding chaos. You are avoiding noise. You are avoiding relationships that would drain your peace. Solitude may look empty compared to social media, but it is far more genuine. Another hidden challenge is this. 4. You feel unmotivated. Being alone can sometimes make you feel stuck. There are days when you wake up feeling tired for no reason. Days when you stare at your goals but feel too exhausted to move. Days when you think, what is the point? Nobody will notice anyway. Without a support system, without encouragement, without someone cheering for you, your motivation can drop. But this stage is not meant to break you. It is meant to force you to become your own motivator. When you learn to push yourself without relying on anyone else, you develop a level of strength most people never achieve. You learn discipline. You build resilience. You create momentum from within. And a person who can push themselves, especially during loneliness, becomes unstoppable in life. The dark side of having no friends is real, but it is not permanent. These challenges are not signs of failure. They are signs of growth. They are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. Being alone may test you, but it will never destroy you. Instead, it will prepare you for the life and the people you truly deserve. Chapter 4. How to transform your loneliness into strength. Now we reach the most important part of this journey. The part that decides whether your loneliness becomes your weakness or your greatest source of power. Almost every strong, wise, successful, disciplined, and emotionally mature person in this world has gone through a season of solitude. But the difference is this. They did not allow loneliness to break them. They learned how to use it. They learned how to turn an empty room into a training ground. They turned quiet days into opportunities. They turned emotional pain into wisdom. And you can do the same. Loneliness is not the enemy. The real enemy is staying stuck, staying hopeless, and believing that your story is over. Your story is not over. In fact, this is the chapter where everything begins to change. If you choose to transform, the first step is simple but powerful. Step 1. Build a strong relationship with yourself. You spend every second of your life with one person, yourself. This relationship is the foundation of your happiness, your confidence, your emotional stability, and your future. Most people spend their lives trying to impress others, trying to fit in, trying to be accepted trying to be liked. They lose themselves in the process. But loneliness gives you a chance to reconnect with who you truly are. Start with small actions that strengthen your bond with yourself. Take quiet walks without your phone. Write your thoughts in a journal to understand what is happening inside your mind. Read books that teach you something new. Practice positive self-talk. Spend time in nature or simply sit in silence without running from your own thoughts. When you become comfortable with your own company, you become emotionally independent. Loneliness stops hurting because you stop fearing it. When you become your own friend, no amount of solitude can destroy you. The second step shapes your identity and brings structure to your life. Step 2. Develop a personal routine. Routine is your anchor. When your days have structure, your mind becomes stable. When your mind becomes stable, your emotions become peaceful. A personal routine gives your life a sense of direction, especially during moments of loneliness. You don't need a perfect schedule. You just need consistent habits. Build simple practices like daily reading, exercising for even 10 minutes, learning English every day, writing your goals, practicing gratitude, improving your skills, or tracking your progress. These small habits shape your character. They build discipline. They create momentum. They give you something to wake up for. And the more consistent you become, the stronger you feel. A routine doesn't just organize your day, it stabilizes your mind. The third step transforms your entire future. Step 3. Focus on self-improvement. Solitude is the best time to grow. Instead of thinking I am alone, think I am preparing. Use this season to build yourself into the person you dream of becoming. Start learning new skills. Train your body. Study personal development. Learn financial discipline so you can control your money instead of letting money control you. Practice communication so you can express yourself clearly. Work on becoming emotionally strong so people cannot break your peace. Every moment of self-improvement adds power to your identity. The more you grow, the more your loneliness becomes your superpower. You stop feeling empty because you are constantly filling yourself with knowledge, with strength, with discipline, with purpose. The fourth step protects your mind from negativity. Step 4. Cut out negative self-talk. Just because you are alone does not mean you are unworthy. Loneliness can plant negative thoughts in your mind if you are not careful. You might catch yourself saying, I have no one, or I am not important, or I am not lovable. These sentences destroy your confidence. They weaken your spirit. They make you believe lies about yourself. Replace them with stronger, empowering thoughts like I am growing. I am transforming. I am becoming stronger. I am preparing for better people. Your mind believes what you repeat. Speak strength, not weakness. Speak healing, not pain. Speak progress, not defeat. Finally, the fifth step opens the door to future relationships, but in a healthy way. Step 5. Open your heart to new connections, but slowly. You do not need a large circle. You do not need 10 friends. You do not need a group. You just need 1 or 2 genuine, loyal human beings who truly understand you. But here is the truth. You do not find real friendships by searching desperately. You do not find them by forcing connections. You do not find them by chasing people. Real friendships come naturally when you are whole alone. When you grow, when you become confident, when you respect yourself, the right people feel drawn to you. And this time you will choose better. You will protect your peace. You will recognize who deserves to stay and who must leave. Your loneliness is not the end of your story. This is the chapter where you rise. This is where you transform silence into strength, emptiness into purpose, and solitude into power. Chapter 5. The beautiful future of a person who once walked alone. There is a truth that almost every strong person discovers at some point in their life. The loneliness you feel today will not last forever, but the strength you gain from it will stay with you for the rest of your life. When you have walked alone, when you have faced long nights without support, when you have carried your dreams without anyone to cheer for you, something powerful begins to grow inside you. You start building a foundation that most people, even those who seem happy in groups, never develop. You build resilience. You build emotional independence. You build inner power. And this power becomes the secret advantage that shapes your future in ways you cannot even imagine right now. A person who has walked alone develops qualities that cannot be learned in comfort. You grow emotionally mature because you learn how to manage your feelings without depending on someone else. You learn how to comfort yourself, how to motivate yourself, how to guide yourself through difficult moments. Your mind becomes stronger. Your heart becomes wiser, and your decisions become clearer. While others need approval, validation, or attention, you learn how to rely on your own voice. And that voice becomes your compass for life. You also become more focused when you spend a season without friends. You are not drowning in gossip, drama, or distractions. Instead, your mind becomes sharp. You start seeing your goals more clearly. You find time to reflect on your dreams. You begin to understand what you truly want from life. And this clarity becomes one of your greatest gifts, because most people never slow down long enough to discover their real purpose. But you, someone who has walked alone, gain the ability to see life differently. Another beautiful result of loneliness is discipline. When you are alone, no one pushes you to wake up early, to study, to work on your goals, or to improve yourself. You have to push yourself. And that self-discipline becomes your superpower. You learn how to build habits. You learn how to stay consistent. You learn how to keep promises you make to yourself. Years later, this discipline separates you from those who depended on others for motivation. Creativity also grows in solitude. Most great ideas in history were born when someone was alone. When you are not surrounded by noise, your imagination becomes limitless. You start thinking deeply. You think differently. You come up with ideas that people in large social circles never discover, because they are too busy following the group. Your loneliness becomes the birthplace of your originality. Your compassion deepens as well. People who once had no friends understand pain more deeply than others. They understand silence, emptiness, worry, and self-doubt. Because of this, they become more empathetic. They become kinder. They become better listeners. They learn how to treat others with respect because they know what it feels like to be ignored or misunderstood. This emotional intelligence makes you someone people feel safe with. Self-awareness also blooms. When you spend time alone, you get to know your fears, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your true desires. You begin to understand what kind of people you want in your life and what kind of people you must avoid. You stop letting others manipulate you. You stop accepting toxic behavior. You stop chasing those who do not value you. You learn how to protect your peace and choose your circle wisely. All of these qualities, maturity, focus, discipline, creativity, compassion, self-awareness, prepare you for a future that is far brighter than your present. One day you will look back at your lonely season and say, "Now I understand. Life isolated me because it was preparing me for something bigger." You will see that the silence was necessary, the distance was necessary, the emptiness was necessary. Everything was shaping you into the person you were meant to become. And here is the beautiful part. One day you will meet people who match your energy, people who understand your depth, people who appreciate your kindness, people who respect your growth, people who bring peace, not stress, people who see your value without you having to prove anything. You will attract these people naturally. Because your loneliness has made you wise enough to recognize genuine hearts. When that moment arrives, you will realize that the season of having no friends did not break you. It transformed you. It made you stronger. It made you clearer. It made you more confident. It made you more selective. It made you capable of giving and receiving real love. And above all, it made you ready for the beautiful future that is waiting for you. Your loneliness is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your strength. And the person you are becoming will one day be grateful for the quiet, difficult, powerful season you are living through right now. Final message. You are not alone. You are in transition. If you feel like you have no friends, right now, remind yourself of this powerful truth. You are not standing at the end of your story. You are standing at the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter that is shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for a future that is greater than anything you can imagine today. This season is not a punishment. It is preparation. You are not behind in life. You are not failing. You are not forgotten. You are evolving. You are slowly becoming someone more disciplined, more focused, more confident, and more capable. Even if the world feels silent around you, your inner world is growing louder with strength and clarity. And as you continue to rise, as you continue to build yourself step by step, your energy will naturally attract better people, better opportunities, and better experiences. In this journey, remember what we always remind you on English Achieve. Your path is unique. Your pace is perfect, and your growth is real even if nobody sees it yet. So walk alone proudly. Walk with purpose. Walk with strength in your heart and vision in your mind. Because people who walk alone today, those who endure long nights, deep reflections, and quiet transformations, often become the ones the world looks up to tomorrow. Your time is coming. Keep moving. Keep believing. Keep becoming. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Thanks for watching.